Well, there are lots of myths that we hear around the holidays. One that we often hear, especially as soon as the temperature starts to drop, is that the cold weather is going to make us sick. And the truth is that it's not cold weather making you sick. It's viruses that make you sick, that give you colds and the things that we think about. And you're not any more likely to get colds at this time of year. Even if you go out without a hat on, or not wearing quite enough clothes, or your hair is wet, you're still not any more likely to get sick. When we spend a lot of time in close contact and gathered together inside, especially like you might gather with friends and family for the holidays, we do sometimes pass on viruses from one person to another at events like that. So poinsettias are really commonly used in holiday decorations, and many people have them in their homes or places where they might be working or celebrating at this time of year. And a lot of people, especially parents, worry because they've heard that poinsettias are toxic. Interestingly enough, and I say this both as a pediatrician and someone who's looked at all of the research, poinsettias are not really much of a risk. They looked at more than 23,000 cases where poinsettia ingestions were reported to the Poison Control Bureau, and in none of those cases were there deaths or serious injury. In fact, more than 95% of them required zero medical care whatsoever. So one really concerning thing that we sometimes hear around this time of year is that suicides spike around the holidays. And this is a sad thought, especially as we're gathering and celebrating and many of us are enjoying time with friends and family. As it turns out, suicides are not any more common around the holidays than at other times. In fact, in studies from around the world and including the US, they're actually somewhat less common right around the holidays. Now, that doesn't mean that people are not struggling with loneliness, with blues, with having difficult and stressful times maybe with their families, or if they're not with families or friends, by themselves. So certainly blues around this time, some stress around this time, and even the types of seasonal affective disorders that some struggle with may still be an issue. Around the holidays, people want to think about cures for hangovers. Many of us might be enjoying a little bit too much to drink, and unfortunately hangovers go with that. One thing that people suggest very often is the hair of the dog. They suggest drinking a little bit more the next morning. That might help you feel better.
There you are.
Unfortunately, that's not really curing your hangover at all. It might help you feel better because in fact it's intoxicating you again. And so as you take in a bit more alcohol, you're not noticing all the ways in which you're feeling bad from the prior alcohol, but you're really just kicking your problem down the road.